Welcome back to the channel, family. Today is July 17th, and the Catholic Church has some absolutely mind-blowing history attached to this specific date. We are diving into three powerful, unforgettable events that occurred today. The heroic martyrdom of the 16 blessed Carmelites of Compiègne during the French Revolution, the mysterious and deeply humbling hidden life of Saint Alexius of Rome, and the heartbreaking yet victorious sacrifice of the 40 Jesuit martyrs of Brazil. Each of these events shows us what it truly looks like to choose Christ over the world, no matter the cost. Let's get into it. The 16 blessed Carmelites of Compiègne, consisting of 11 cloistered nuns, 3 lay sisters, and 2 externes, were executed by the guillotine on July 17, 1794, during the darkest days of the French Revolution's reign of terror. As radical revolutionaries sought to completely dismantle the Catholic Church, close down monasteries, and force religious communities to disband, these courageous daughters of Carmel refused to abandon their vows. Recognizing the great spiritual warfare surrounding them, their prioress, Mother Therese of St. Augustine, led the community in offering their lives as a collective sacrifice for the peace of the Church and the mitigation of the horrific violence consuming France. When they were eventually arrested and brought before the Revolutionary Tribunal in Paris, they were swiftly condemned to death for fanaticism and maintaining their illegal religious life. What happened at the scaffold completely stunned the bloodthirsty crowd gathered at the Place du Trône Renversé. Instead of screaming or begging for mercy, the sisters climbed the steps to the guillotine one by one, while joyfully chanting the Veni Creator Spiritus, Come Holy Spirit, and renewing their baptismal and religious vows. One by one, their voices dropped out as the blade fell, until only the prioress remained to give her life. Within days of their profound act of self-giving, the reign of terror collapsed, and historians widely attribute the end of this bloody era to the spiritual weight of their martyrdom. They were beatified by Pope St. Pius X in 1906, leaving behind a timeless blueprint of how to stand firm in the Catholic faith against absolute state tyranny. Saint Alexius, known traditionally as the Man of God, is one of the most enigmatic and deeply humbling figures in the Roman martyrology, passing away in the early 5th century. Born into a life of immense wealth, nobility, and societal privilege in Rome, Alexius seemed destined for worldly greatness. However, he felt a relentless supernatural prompt from God to abandon the empty traps of material wealth. On the very night of his arranged wedding to a prominent imperial noblewoman, Alexius secretly left his home and fled to Edessa in the east. There, he gave away everything he possessed and lived for 17 years as a completely anonymous beggar outside a church dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mother. His radical journey took an even more extraordinary turn when he eventually returned to Rome. Unrecognized due to years of extreme fasting, poverty, and physical transformation, he begged for shelter at his own father's palace. His father, a deeply charitable man who still grieved his missing son, took pity on the beggar and allowed him to live in a dark, cramped space underneath the palace staircase. For another 17 years, Alexius lived as a stranger in his own family home, bearing the cruel mocks and mistreatment of his family's servants with radical, Christ-like humility. It was only upon his death on July 17 that his true identity was miraculously revealed, as he was found holding a parchment detailing his life story. His life serves as a stark reminder of the virtue of total detachment from worldly praise. On July 17, 1570, a deeply tragic yet glorious event unfolded off the coast of the Canary Islands when a large group of young Portuguese Jesuit missionaries, led by Blessed Ignatius de Azevedo, were brutally massacred out of hatred for the Catholic faith. These 40 brave men, composed of priests, scholastics, and novices, were sailing aboard a merchant ship named the Santiago on an evangelical expedition to bring the light of the gospel to the indigenous peoples of Brazil. Their mission was suddenly cut short when their vessel was intercepted and captured by Jacques de Sores, a notorious French Huguenot pirate captain who harbored a fierce animosity toward the Catholic Church. The pirates subjected the peaceful Jesuits to immense cruelty, singling them out strictly because of their religious identity and calling to preach the Catholic faith. Father Ignatius de Azevedo fiercely encouraged his spiritual sons to remain steadfast, holding up a small picture of the Blessed Virgin Mary as he exhorted them to welcome the crown of martyrdom. The pirates brutally stabbed, beat, and threw all 40 missionaries into the ocean, turning the waters red with the blood of these innocent defenders of the cross. Though they never physically touched the soil of Brazil, their ultimate sacrifice became the spiritual seed for future missionary triumphs in South America. They were formally beatified by Pope Pius IX in 1854, honoring their total dedication to the Great Commission.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. History like this reminds us that our Catholic faith was built on the incredible, radical sacrifices of everyday people who loved Jesus above all else. If these stories inspired you or strengthened your faith today, please take a second to hit that like button. Leave a comment below letting me know which story impacted you the most, and share this video with a friend who needs a spiritual boost. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into church history. God bless you all, and see you in the next video.